let's transition over to topic 2. E3. How E3 is changing. This is sparked by an article by Jason Schreier over at Kotaku. Electronic Arts is essentially skipping E3 this year, pulling out of the trade show in favor of their own events in Los Angeles and London that will be open to the public. Rather than hosting an E3 press conference and putting up a big flashy booth for trade show attendees, the publisher will hold an event called EA Play that will run from June 12th to June 14th at Club Nokia in Los Angeles, which is like a block away from E3.
Yeah, it's right across the street there.
And they also plan to hold a one-day event on June 12th at the Mermaid Event Center in London, which sounds awesome. I don't know where that is.
It's underwater.
Anyway, anyone who wants to attend either event can sign up for more information on the website. EA still plans to hold a press conference, they say, and it's likely we'll see news and trailers for much-hyped games like Mass Effect Andromeda and the Visceral developed Star Wars, but instead of their traditional spot on Monday afternoon, they're going to hold the press conference on Sunday at EA Play. Blah, blah, blah. They say a whole bunch of other stuff. What do you guys think about this?
Fascinating. You know what I mean? Like we talk about all the time over in Publisher Hall. When you walk in there, it's EA is like the biggest one, and it takes up all this space, and there's usually a break in the middle of it, like because it's that big. There's so much happening there, so that's gonna be a huge hole to fill over there. And then you start wondering, it's like, well, and the question is, well, can they fill it? Of course they can, but like, are they gonna stretch themselves thin? Who all do they let in? How do they do that? You know what I mean? And what does this mean? Are they like the canary in the coal mine of these big companies waking up to the fact of like, we really don't need E3. We should go make our own event. We should have a Bethesda kind of thing.
I mean, I think this is the best call they could have made. Like owning your own event is the best thing to do. Having fans in the room reacting to the press conference stuff, that's way more important than having, us there.
They'll be there. We'll be there.
Like,
people will be there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the people that want to be there will be there. But it's way more important than just having people that are just there to just critique and just whatever. Like you want the excitement. You want the video clips of people being excited about your products, because then the journalists and stuff will just watch that and they'll see that. And also the moms and stuff, or whoever the hell the target audience is to get excited
USA
about
Today's still going to write about it, and they'll get out before, they'll be in the paper before getting buried by what, because that's always been the thing, right? It's like, all right, it's press conference day. It's Ubisoft, it's EA, it's Microsoft, it's Sony. And like, right, like we're excited for Microsoft and Sony, and the rest, it's all like, oh, that's cool. What are you gonna do? But whatever. Like you're buried on Tuesday's newspaper, whereas Monday morning you get. Because let's face it, I think that Sunday night they come out, they're gonna do this whole thing, and they're gonna fucking come out and they're gonna be like, this is fucking Mass Effect Andromeda. It's out this fall. It's very much
similar to Bethesda
Fallout.
last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, Sunday, who knows who else is going to be there this year? Like if anyone else is going to move to that.
Oh,
but
sure.
I just think that this is very similar to the Nintendo thing. And me and you disagree about the directs, but like I don't think Nintendo needs to be at E3 to still be at E3 in the eyes of millions. Like that's exactly what they're doing. They're actually going to be right there, but they don't need to actually be inside the building to be part of E3 and be part of that buzz and be part of the announcements. And a press conference is a fucking press conference, no matter what way you spin it. Even if it's a Nintendo Direct, it's still a fucking press conference. All the shit is the same. So it's just information being given, and I think that they're making a great move. And in terms of the space on the floor, I mean, that room is EA and Activision just taking over the whole thing in the same way that the other room is Sony or PlayStation and Xbox just taking over everything.
Nintendo actually usually is a bit.
Oh, and Nintendo's big ass one, yeah. You take out EA, it's still super crowded over there. Like Activision's booth's just gonna be even more of a distraction than previous years, I think.
Yeah, I think that I thought about this a little bit since we talked about it on Colin Moriarty Live today. One thing I forgot about and candidly say is that like EA's press conferences are typically pretty bad. So like nothing of real value has been lost by them not being at E3. Like they show Andromeda and all these kinds of things, but they also show. I remember last year's conference. It's fucking awful.
Is that what is last year's Pele when they brought out Pele?
Yeah, it was terrible. And they were like, let's talk about. They came out and literally said, let's talk about mobile games, and everyone was like, are you? We were with GameSpot in their war room, and the audible moan like this company's just so corporate in so many ways. Like I just don't find I don't find many of their properties that exciting. So I just don't find their press conferences that exciting unless they show like a new Dead Space, and they'll obviously show Mass Effect, which is exciting. But like I like Madden and FIFA is very popular and all that kind of stuff, but I don't need to see this shit and all that. So and Battlefront and all that kind of stuff. So I from like a gamer's perspective, from my own personal taste perspective, I don't really care that they're not going to be there, but I do think it says a lot about the way they look at E3. And I think it says a lot about, candidly about the waning influence of mainstream games press that attend E3. EA made a calculation that it's more important for them to, the big thing about this is they're letting in anyone. So E3 is still like this trade show, that's easy enough to like get in if you want. And apparently, I've always been there with big outlets, but apparently you like can have a blog or whatever.
You got a blog, yeah. You got a YouTube channel.
But like their calculation is like they would rather just have their own thing, deal directly with gamers and more people at tastemakers, word of mouth buzz, and then just know that the press is going to have to cover their games anyway, than just go to E3 and isolate themselves from that group of people. Because I just think that they realize that with the rise of YouTube and the rise of Twitch and the rise of social media, with like just people with just a few thousand Twitter followers, can have great influence over the purchasing decisions of hundreds of people that trust them.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's it. It's having 1,000 or 3,000 people in a room that are all going to tweet whatever hashtag you tell them to tweet is more important for you than 10 people tweeting about it and probably making some snarky joke.
Oh, yeah. Always snarky joke.
Yeah. So I do think, like, I think that this says a great deal about the direction that the industry is going in, as much as it says about EA's own calculations and EA's own roster of games. Like, I think that there's much to be read into this. Because I did not expect it. EA, in fact, I was telling Greg, was like the last company I would expect to let go of E3. So if they're willing to do it, what is Ubisoft going to do? And like next year, and Activision and all these companies, do they need to be there anymore? And like once everyone starts pulling out, does E3 even exist anymore? Is E3 even as important as it was? Because it definitely was on the wane for a while, and then it came back. I mean, it seemed like it was becoming stronger again. And I personally have been to many E3s, and I think this will be my 10th this year. And I don't like going, and I don't think it's that fun or that interesting. It's more fun to just read about things and watch videos from home than it is to be there. And with the proliferation of social media and getting videos out there and just live streaming and going on Twitch and just doing whatever you want, and Nintendo Direct type stuff, but other companies can do that. I think that like the whole nature of these trade shows is going to change, at least for trade shows that are sealed off from mass audiences. Games conferences is going to be fine and probably will grow because anyone can go. But E3 either has to change the way it approaches games, or hope that EA is like not the canary in the coal mine, but just a one-off kind of,
someone trying
anomaly.
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo even, I think that they kind of started a nice trend with Nintendo World Championships last year of, all right, E3's happening and normal people can't get in, but normal people could go to the same place that EA is doing their thing now and wait in line and get in and see something and be part of this event and get announcements. I mean, the Nintendo World Championship was essentially like a mini press conference for Nintendo before the Direct, where they made announcements and they showed off Mario Maker and made it look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like that sold Mario Maker so much. Because before it was just like, all right, that's fine. That's cool. They're doing it. But that was like, oh, that's what you can do with this game. And I hope that more people do it, because E3 to me, I don't give a shit if it's in one building or 10, as long as there's a week where everyone is trying to one up each other and battle and have that. And more people are going to start to back out to do their own things, but I don't think those are mutually exclusive. Like we've seen it with Sony. How many goddamn press conferences did they have last year? Like with PSX and they backed out of
Gamescom. They didn't go hard at. They went to Paris Games Week.
Like, it's things have changed. The press conference game has totally changed.
There's a million
for everybody.
conferences all the time, and how do you cover them all? And where do you put your stuff?
Convention season is from January to December now. So with all of that stuff, I think that E3 is never not going to be an idea, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be
housed under one roof all the time.
Exactly.
Every game there. Yeah.
So I'm excited about this.
No, it's just fascinating of like how much oxygen is there. You know what I mean? Like how many people can get out in front of the giant behemoth that is these conferences from Sony, Microsoft, and the Nintendo Direct, right? To get out and have their message be heard and not be drowned out, and not have it be that, oh man, Aisha Tyler's not being funny right now. Like not have that be the messaging, right? The messaging be what we saw with Bethesda, which was like, here's this conference and we were excited about everything you said. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that's what EA's driving at. That's what they're shooting for.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, that is exciting. Will EA actually make a good press conference with this? Because last year, like I can't remember a great EA.
That's the thing conference. And that's the whole thing is I don't think it. To be fair to them, I don't think can they make an amazing press conference? Is a better way to put it. Usually, what it is, and I think Peter Moore talked about this, and it's even when we talked about PlayStation, right? Of like, we try to do something for everybody, which inevitably means that you're gonna be Pele, well, and that's me. So, you know what I mean? But then I'm excited about one of their games, right?
Yeah.
This is what Adam I think talked about with us about PlayStation. Of like, we wanted everybody to walk away from PSX's conference excited about 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
Which means that there's gonna be a bunch you don't care about.
No, that's totally cool, and I get that. But nobody's excited about watching Madden press conferences. I really think like we know those things are coming, and the people that are interested, they'll go watch the trailers, they'll go watch whatever. Like literally at the press conference, instead of spending 20 minutes talking about all the sports games, it could be 1 minute, 2 minute thing of here's our lineup, here's key things that are being added to this year's whatever. Cool.
Yeah.
You know,
And maybe
mobile games, same thing.
Yeah, mobile games don't need to be touched. And I think that would be my prediction with what they're doing here, right? And what we're talking about, because they're talking about that it's what is it, a 3-day event, right? Then capped off by the Sunday press conference, or am I putting that in awkward order? You figure then what you get to do there is you get to come out and be like, hey, you've had a great time playing Madden and FIFA, and they have a bunch of new features, and we've talked about those, and trailers are up. But let's talk about. I want to talk to you today about 5 awesome titles.
Here's the new Star Wars game. Here's Mass Effect.
Yep.
Here's
Yeah,
and that's the thing,
Star Wars
EA
game. Shit, you're right. That's
Yeah.
probably gonna. I bet you actually start with Andromeda and you end with Star Wars.
Yeah,
Put it in the bank.
It's just fascinating. It's just fascinating what they're telegraphing though with the way they just look at the landscape right now, and I think it goes beyond even mainstream or like traditional games press. It goes even to YouTubers and even to Twitch streamers that I mentioned before, in the sense that you don't need to get any of these people to get hands on if like they want to do like if they want to like just do a trailer analysis, or they're gonna let's play your games anyway, and they're gonna do all these kinds of things. And is it I'm wondering if they're just seeing what Bethesda saw with Fallout, which was like, is there any value to long lead times? Is there any value to even going hands on with the game before it comes out? Like, is there really any value to the preview cycle anymore? Apart from driving pre-sales, which seems to be kind of a waning thing as retail slowly dies. Like, I just think the whole landscape is very unique and very interesting right now, and EA might be like a harbinger of good things to come in terms of like a new way of looking at games and a new way of looking at the industry. But it is a move for control as well,
which is good.
It depends on how you look at it. Like, I don't know necessarily that it's good in the sense. I mean, it's their prerogative to control anything they want with their games before they come out. But is it good? Is it good that like they want to avoid the snark? Is it good that they want to avoid the heat of E3? Is it good that they want to cut out the press? Is it good? Like, I'm like, I don't have an answer, yes or no. I do think that what we hear from a lot of our PR friends is that like the last 2 years or so have been looking far less at traditional games press and more at YouTube and Twitch, and find that to be frankly way more important. It's way more important for PewDiePie to play your game than to have your game on GameSpot, for instance. And I think any publisher would take that.
Well,
deal,
it was
right?
a big change last week. Yeah, last week, 2 weeks ago, when we went to that Far Cry Primal event, and we walked in there and we brought all our equipment to do Let's Play or whatever. But they had a laptop and a camera and a capture station at every station. Like, it was like, if you want to do it, and like they had so many YouTube people in there, and like when the embargo lifted, I put up our video, and the first thing I saw wasn't IGN and it wasn't GameSpot. The first video I saw was Britt Bromrocker. She had taken out a GIF or whatever, and it was like, my tip for Far Cry Primal is don't shoot bears with fire arrows, and it was her shooting a bear with fire arrow, the bear catching on fire and then chasing her around, and I was like, that's the first footage I've seen that's not my footage.
And that's cool. And what I think is very awesome about that is it was one of the first times, and Ubisoft gets it, and we've seen this over and over where they've been super good to us because they see what we're doing and all that. But usually we go to these events and it is all our friends from traditional media and stuff. But this was the first time that I was like, these are YouTubers, and I don't know all of them. It's not like they're big. It's not like they're huge people. And I looked into some of them after. It's like, they're not even kind of big. Like, we're talking,
they're like us.
Some of them, no, but I mean, some of them had like 10,000 subscribers.
Sure, but I mean, like, they're like us in the way that they have an audience that is like,
and
ride or die. What do you say
cool
about this game? Yeah,
that's what's cool about it. Is it's like you don't need to be even that big. You don't even need to be where we're at. This weird kind of hybrid of we're bigger than nothing, but we're way smaller than something. But it's cool to like they get it to the point of they're actively looking of who wants to play Far Cry Primal.
Yeah,
who wants to talk about it and stuff. And I think that's cool.
Yeah,
and like. The other thing too is it's not like these people are just sitting there and they're not going to be yes men. They're not just going to be like, well, this is awesome. Like, we're sitting there. There's people around that were making fun of the game and like totally just going in on it and not being like professional in those.
We were too busy figuring out what shale is.
Yeah, and Kevin was busy unplugging everything.
Yeah, I just think it's just fascinating to watch and it can be another topic for another day, but just the waning and waxing influences of different influencers and what that word means and how that means control is being shifted and maybe reined in or given more of to other people. And I think that there's just way more to read into the EA's decision here than just them not being at E3. I think it's them saying like, we have to figure out a new way to go about our business. And it has nothing to do with anything but what we want to do. We don't have to please anybody anymore except for the people that play our games. And word of mouth is so powerful. And positivity with smaller groups of people is more positive or more powerful than being on a big website where the comments are wildly negative and the optics are bad. And I don't know. I think that this was probably a thoughtful thing that they had to think long and hard about, and I think they did. And because it's not something to take lightly. It's also probably not something that pleased their partners in the industry either, like the ESA and stuff like that. So I'm sure that there was like it wasn't an easy decision for them to make. But I'm interested to see how it works out if they come back next year, if it doesn't work out, and then how their success or lack of success influences the other big publishers. Because if 2 or 3 more drop out, E3's done. Like if 2 or 3, if Activision and then Microsoft decide not to go to E3 anymore, it's over.
Yeah.
Like it's just done. So or Ubisoft and Sony or whatever it is, it can't survive without almost all the big players.
Yeah. What do you think about Nintendo, Colin? In terms of conference?
I think they do. My hope is that the rumors are that they will announce it and then do a conference later. I think that's a mistake. I think that's stupid, but that's probably what they will do. I think that they can get the biggest bang for their buck if they just don't say anything at all. Just say to come to this press conference. No one knows what the fuck's going on. No one knows what the console's called. No one knows what it is. No one knows the nature of the games. They have a 2-hour meaty press conference. It's all about NX. They don't talk about Wii U. They don't talk about 3DS at all.
I get chills just hearing you say this.
They
I
don't.
love this.
They don't
I wanna be there.
acknowledge. They don't acknowledge the consoles, the Wii U or 3DS at all. They're just thrown away. Not literally, but just being like, this is not about what we're we continue to release some 3DS games and Wii U games, but that's not what we're about anymore. Here's the plan. Here's what the console's called. Here's what it looks like. Here are the games. Here's the release date. Here's the price. Here's the idea. Here's the app that will go on PS4 and Xbox One. Here's how it all works. Here's how it all works together. They can make that would be one of the biggest explosions at E3 ever. And whether or not it works out for them when it comes out to market is a different story entirely. But if they want to make a splash, be at E3, be there in the flesh. Do not do a Nintendo Direct. Do not rehearse this. Or you have to rehearse, but don't edit and make this nice clean thing like they usually do. That's not what this is about. You have to be a different Nintendo. That Nintendo might be very intimate and very fun for a lot of people, but that Nintendo hasn't been very successful. So you can't keep
Imagine during the Sony press conference, there's a roll clip and it's a Nintendo Direct. That just starts.
That'd be wild. That'd be wild.
I would think of and like, please welcome to the stage, Reggie, and like they've put up in the Nintendo logo. That would be like people would lose their fucking mind. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
And that would be the thing of like, let's say Sony as usual closes out Monday and Nintendo's gonna start Tuesday right before the show opens. Have Reggie come out and be like, hey, I'm here, we're talking about this NX app, but this is only part of what the NX is. We'll tell you all about it tomorrow during, that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? And that'd be, like, to your point, that'd be awesome if they partnered with one person. Or one group,
and I know that it's a somewhat common theme, and a lot of people think, not a lot of people, but one of the theories about what NX means is N cross. Like,
yeah, crossover.
Like what is it?
Street Fighter cross.
So what is it? Could it just be like you picture a logo of just NX and then it moves over and it's NX PlayStation or NX Xbox or something like that or whatever,
NX Neo Geo.
Oh yeah,
it's back.
NX Sega.
So there's it's exciting. It is exciting because
exciting.
The unknown is exciting.
About the director conference though, like I don't know. I'm not sure that they're gonna have a conference because just knowing them, either way I'm in. Like I really don't care, and I don't think there is that big of a difference whether it's a direct or a conference, but. Either way, I'm fucking sold. I want them to have a conference just because I want to be there.
Yeah, it's been a long time since since Space World really that they which is old now. And Space World used to be so fun to read about back in the day.
Oh my god,
because we never had a chance of actually going, but where they really treated themselves like they were big again, where they need to. It's not a fake it till you make it thing because Nintendo is the OG really, with Atari and Coleco basically and really the most important of that group. But to just be we are Nintendo and we can do whatever we want, and we're gonna do it this way, and to treat it bigger than just sitting at Nintendo HQ and these nice tightly edited videos is just boring.
But I mean,
it's just fucking boring.
That's exactly what you just said, though. That is them doing what they want and just being we're fucking Nintendo.
That is them doing what they want. That's them talking to their people, and if they want to talk to their people, then they might as well not even bother. They have to talk to everyone. They have to figure out a new way. It is fun. The Nintendo Directs are funny and they're interesting, but during the heyday of Wii and during the heyday of DS, those didn't exist, and that was their most successful period. So it's not clearly Nintendo fans are loud and just like any fans of anything really, and they're boisterous, and they think that Nintendo can do no wrong in a lot of different ways, but Nintendo's done a lot of wrong, and they need to right the ship because that $18 billion war chest is going to turn into zero, and if they don't start really making money and figuring it out over the long term, and They'll be fine. At the very least, they have valuable IP, and they can do whatever they want with those games if this fails. Which I think this is their last chance to really figure it out.
The topic was brought to you by Squarespace. Building a website can be tough, and even if you do know your way around coding, creating something that looks good and works well is a time-consuming affair. Whether it's for a business site, a portfolio, a restaurant, or whatever else, in this day and age, you probably need one anyway. Well, lucky for us, Squarespace makes it easy to build beautiful websites without breaking a sweat. Squarespace provides simple, powerful, and beautiful websites that look professionally designed regardless of skill level, no coding required. Not only does Squarespace provide you with intuitive and easy-to-use tools to create your website with, Squarespace also has state-of-the-art technology powering your site to ensure security and stability. And you know you can trust in Squarespace for your website needs when millions of people and some of the most respected brands in the world trust in them too. Nick originally made kindafunny.com and Squarespace, and that was a big, beautiful website.
Nick's stupid, so if he can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Seriously, you can't beat the ease and simplicity of Squarespace. Squarespace gives you 24/7 online support and a beautiful website, so what are you waiting for? Start a trial with no credit card required and start building your website today. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use the code KINDAFUNNY to get 10% off your first purchase. And to show you support for Kinda Funny Games, we thank Squarespace for their support of Kinda Funny Games. Squarespace, you should.
Build it beautiful.
Yeah.